Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubby, Son Ranto
with Michael,
Son Ranto
and Crawley,
Son Ranto and the lovable loser. Son Ranto
with Michael,
Son Ranto
and Crawley,
Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto.
Son Ranto! Ladies and gentlemen, I doth protest. What the fuck is a Crawley, and why is his name in my song, or its name, may I presume? Where have I gone from my song? Fuck you all.
I'll put you in the song eventually, but you got to do at least a month of shows before I start going back to the studio to record a whole new Son Ranto theme song.
There's another song. It exists already, and I was in a coma. I see how you treat me. I was out for 2 weeks in a coma, and you just replaced me.
Yeah, well, I replaced you, but with Crawley, who's got his own show, the Fly to W podcast. Make sure you check that one out.
You know what, Danny?
He had your favorite guy, Boog, on the other day.
You in their theme song.
What's that?
I said Crawley's show doesn't mention you in their theme song. I think you're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, I need to be mentioned in more theme songs. That is the key to success. But I will mention that we are brought to you by our 112 Patreon supporters. Thank you for being a Patreon patron and being our first regular show of the month. We are giving away the Patreon prize of the month, which is none other. We're going to talk about whether we think he's a good manager or not a little bit later. It's in the show notes. A David Ross bobblehead. It's going to be given away right now. Let me share the wheel of names. And we're going to pick somebody from our Patreon list. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Wheel it. Wheel it.
Drum roll.
Let's get some. The wheel of names. The wheel of names. The wheel of names. Who will win? Who will win? Who will win? The winner is Josh Oberheide, or Oberheide, as they
Uberheide.
Uberheide. Congratulations, Josh. You have won the, well, this is kind of funny because I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but this is a 2020 bobblehead series. So the Cubs aren't even making new bobbleheads. They're just, these are just leftover from Ross's first year. Like, the only reason he's probably still manager is because they had these bobbleheads and they were like, well,
we got to use these fucking things before we fire them. Make sure it's the first half of the season.
Hey, it's going to be worth even more. That's $1 million bobblehead because 2020 didn't even exist as a baseball year.
What an amazing year 2020 was for all of us. Just really want to remember. And as always, it's chance for a chance time. If you put hashtag chance with a capital C into the chat, you could win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me. So do that now.
When are you going to run out of those?
Well, I only have, I guess, maybe about 15 left. So I think I could get through the year, maybe.
All right.
So Bill Suga says, bobblehead, it's a fucking puppet. Yeah, puppet of the front office. Angel Moreno says, hire Ozzie Guillen. You know what? If we're going to have a bad year, like, I don't want to have a beloved guy like David Ross out there. Let's have Ozzie Guillen out there, just like, throwing bases at the players on the other team.
Let's get more motherfuckers through the microphones.
Yeah, exactly. Just mic him up. You know what I mean? Like, don't mic up any of the players on the field. Like, first of all, I hate that. But second, but let's have just Ozzie Guillen cam. That's what I want. And so
I love when they mic up the players, because someday something horrible is going to happen, and I can't wait to see it.
No,
they're gonna be talking to the player in the middle of a play, and he's gonna take a line drive right to the fucking skull because he's not paying attention.
Oh, I guess it wasn't horrible like that, but fucking Patrick Wisdom missed a ball yesterday because they were talking to him. Just I don't know that he missed it.
I don't know that he missed it. Like, it was but I agree. I thought to myself, my first thought was like, he missed it because of that stupid microphone. And then I watched it again. I was like, well, it's kind of a hard hit ball, like maybe
it is, but he didn't even make like any real sort of effort because he was distracted when it hit.
I agree. I hate it. Personally, I hate it. But first, I just want to start out here. It's going to take real quick. But Club 400 Wrigleyville opened up down in, Wrigleyville, just over on Gray Street. And this is Stuart McVicker's new apartment that he turned it into a Cubs cave, but by Wrigley. He's already got the one in Lake in the Hills where he hosts all the players, like Stroman was just there a couple weeks ago. And this time, he just knocked it out of the park yet once again. So I'm going to put up a few pictures. This is basically, it's a ground floor apartment, but he's got TVs everywhere, high top tables, branded with Club 400. He's a great place to watch the game. I took this after everybody went to the game, except for a few of us that watched it there. But I'm going to scroll. Here's the kitchen. They had a nice little barbecue for us out there. They fed everybody burgers and dogs and stuff. Frank Schwindel was there earlier in the morning. He signed the wall, Frank the Tank, and
hammering a couple beers before he went to the field.
Exactly. Middle seat, Frank. And then Ray Burris, he's a big Club 400 guy. He's always at almost all the events. He signed the wall too. First Cub here, he signed it. And they signed it on the wall, silver marker. And then as you can see, he's got like trophy cases, a couple more tables. You got the beer fridge over there, a giant Wrigley Field, home of the Cubs, with 2 TVs embedded in it. I mean, it's just like, it's basically a house party that you can go hang out at.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can kind of get the perspective. It's like a railroad apartment sort of thing. It's only 1 bedroom, but it's more about just having a place to hang out before the game.
Michael, this is our future. Danny at 70. He's like, so I went to Spain last month. Do you want to see my slideshow? And then we're going to sit there for 6 hours. He's like, and this was the toilet at the first hotel.
Yeah.
And this was the toilet at the second hotel. Aren't they amazing?
And here's the bidet. but no,
here's me using the bidet.
The thing I wanted to point out is that later, between games, Ricketts showed up. Okay, now I didn't know this was going to happen. Otherwise, I would have gotten way more hammered and had the bravery that our friend Crawley had to just corner Ricketts in the kitchen and ask him questions for the poor guy. Just Crawley's in his face asking him question after question. But I got this. Ricketts did sign the wall, and he was a little drunk when he did it. But let me show you the video of this.
The John Hancock.
So he's going real big on that wall.
Go home. Boom.
Just really feeling himself. He scrawled it in basically 4-inch high letters.
Yep, I was totally thinking the John Hancock thing too.
That's why I called him John Hancock. But it's funny. Later on in the night, I go back there, and Kathy Weedley, who did a lot of the artistic design of Club 400, she was complaining because Ricketts, it's one of those silver paint pens, and she was complaining because she looked on the wall and there's just drips because he went so big and he pressed so hard, and there's just drips all down the wall that's on the ground. Like, this place just opened and Ricketts already wrecked it. So, and one thing we were making fun of, Matt Kammerer was around. The famous artist Matt Kammerer. And I said, what was it that we were laughing about Ricketts saying in the kitchen when Crawley was grilling him? And Crawley was grilling him, or somebody was grilling him about why not signing Carlos Correa or somebody like that. And I said, what was that he said, Matt? And Matt texted me back. He goes, Ricketts told us yesterday we would have had to give up the 7th pick in the 2nd round if we wanted someone that would help like Correa. So, what goes on at Club 400 usually stays at Club 400, but I just had to share that little quote with you because I know Tom's not watching the show yet. He doesn't tune in until 8:30.
He doesn't tune in until the guests show up.
Yeah, but either way, we had a great time on on Saturday.
Mother has to get him out of the tub and dry off his rubber ducky before he can listen to the Son Ranto Show.
So, and the other thing we did on Saturday is we gave Joe Kilgallen, friend of the show, great guy, hilarious comedian. He lost his dad at the end of this past winter.
Sorry
And one thing we did with the Son Ranto, the condolence or the Mike Leonard condolence jersey, which if you're not a part of that on Facebook, you should be. It's a place we all help each other out. We commissioned Matt Kammerer to do a painting, a drawing of Matt's dad. And Matt was in town on Saturday. We caught both games with his lovely fiance, Kelsey. And because Matt was there and I knew Joe was available in the day, we met up at Club 400 opening and we gave Matt the drawing. So he posted today on the Mike Leonard condolences jersey. And here's a picture of the art piece that Matt did for Joe and his family. He said, I want to thank Danny Rock and all of you from the bottom of my heart. I will cherish this piece by Matt Kammerer for the rest of my life. It means the world to me. And like, we didn't do it publicly. We just kind of went on the back porch and, gave it to him and talked about our dads and baseball.
That sounded way dirtier than you meant it.
Yeah, we did it on the back porch.
We went on the back porch and we gave it to him.
So anyway, it was a fun-filled weekend and a baseball-filled weekend. But before we get into the baseball, I think we should bring on our guest if she's ready to come on. We're going to have her on a little bit later, but she's early, so let's talk about the Cubs Cardinals series with Infield Fly Girl, fresh back from Chicago, Illinois. Infield, I don't think you know Crawley's daddy, Lyle.
How you doing?
Hi, Lyle.
How are you?
So welcome to the Son Ranto Show, and let's get into this Cardinals series a little bit. We lost 3 of the 5 games. The Cubs could have won 2 of the losses, got our asses handed to us in the Stroman game. We saw a lot of the Cubs' younger pitchers go up there. We got our asses handed to us by Brendan Donovan, who I've never heard of before this weekend.
Their creative player machine.
Yeah. Well, we were joking before the show that we were trying to think because he looks just like Harrison Bader. So I was out in the outfield screaming at Brendan Donovan that he's ripping off Bader style. It's like Bader hair.
Oh, they have the same blonde hair. They wear the same bandana thing, holding it back. They look like a 1980s WWF tag team match. That's what they look like. They're a team that's going to go out there and fight the Rockers or some shit.
The Killer Bees. Yeah. So all these games were winnable, except for the one that you were up 3-0. With
it was winnable early.
Winnable early, and then the wheels fell out past really fast. But why don't we just start here with a poem, shall we? Let's go with a poem of the win of Game 1, 7-5. This was the Keegan Thompson versus Libertor, and this one Morel led off with a double. We'll let him get into it. But
let's hope I can even remember how I was supposed to read this. But it's been
I'm gonna give you some music.
It was a long weekend.
It was a very long weekend. So let's try this one. You vibing?
All right. Cubs poem 51. Chicago 7, St. Louis 5. The Cubs knew 1-2. Morel and Willie. Arbitration getting more and more silly. St. Losers in town. First of the season. Didn't look good. Keegan's the reason. Schwindel hit a bomb. Bullpen still strong. Cup tower killed, fans singing the song. Let's fly the dub all weekend long. I had some positivity going in there. I thought maybe we won. I thought we might win all 4 of them.
Well,
Stranger things have happened.
If you recall, I predicted a sweep, so I was looking real good after this first game.
There you are.
Yeah.
But Keegan Thompson, let's start there. Infield, do you think? I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, he goes 5.1 innings. Not the strikeouts weren't there like it was before. Did give up the 3 runs on 5 hits, but is this dude for real? Like, I mean, can we trust? He's in the rotation now. He was kind of like the long man. because of injuries, he's there.
Mhm.
How do you feeling about our boy Keegs?
I think, I like what I've seen with him so far. He's still getting into his seat. I'm ready to ride alongside him for now, at least.
He's still 12 years old, but
Exactly.
it's so much more fun to see these young guys come out, even if they are going to struggle a little bit. Let's see them fucking play, and they have a game. And honestly, Keegan Thompson has had more good games than bad games.
Absolutely.
I mean, we were talking all offseason. We have no starting pitching. Now all of a sudden, we've got Keegan Thompson, Justin Steele, maybe Caleb Killian. I don't know what they're doing with him right now, but
He's gone already.
He's already gone, yeah. But I mean, we have some guys that like now you can actually look into the future with the starting rotation and say we might actually have something.
Sure, and I'd much rather, if I'm going to struggle with somebody, I'd rather struggle with somebody like Keegan than, the ghost of Jake Arrieta.
I would too. Woo.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Struggle with some Keegan.
And I think the plan was, in a way, like, you got Miley on the shelf right now, and Smiley is on the Smiley shelf is going on, and those, I think the plan with those dudes anyway were to like get them set to be traded to a contender so they could help them down the stretch, because it certainly isn't going to be the Cubs at this point. So I think we were going to see Keegan starts anyway. It's just maybe happening earlier and for the wrong reasons. And that's definitely the truth of, and we could talk about Keegan in the same way, because just as a general overall thought, because we saw 3 really young pitchers, 4 really, if you count Steele. We've seen Keegan and Steele last year with the team, but then on Saturday we saw 2 totally new guys with Swarmer, who's got this slide ball that nobody can hit, but that's like, and he's doing great, like gives you 6 innings, and then you bring up Killian, who also does a nice job. I could put up their lines. That was good. Game 3 and 4. Swarmer, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 5 Ks. And then you end up ending this game with the Hughes Efros wick for 2 innings.
So
which I want to talk about.
Had anybody actually, okay, I mean, I don't follow the minor leagues that much because we're too busy watching this team and trying to do this show. Like, where was Swarmer? They brought up Swarmer, and I'm like, I thought they misspelled Schwarber. I thought he was out there like pitching. They just brought him back. I don't know, but it messed me up. And then he pitched great. It's just like all these guys that are coming up, Morel, Schwarmer, these different dudes that are like, I mean, I almost feel like this is Cardinals-esque, where they just fucking bring people up off the bench that nobody's ever heard of, and they play well. Where were they? Why wasn't anybody telling us about these guys coming into the season?
I would like it to be known that I was telling y'all about Christopher Morel this winter. He was playing for the Águilas Cibaeñas, and I was tweeting, "Don't sleep on Christopher Morel."
Yeah, no, you were early on Morel. It's true. You were, and he was at spring training in the end of games a lot of times when he's still playing. I think he's got
okay. Look, and I'm all with you, IFG. You're out there, you're tweeting about it, but where were the people that were supposed to be running this fucking team?
Yeah.
Like, why are they were probably looking at your tweets like, fuck, we need to go check out this Morel guy that apparently we have playing somewhere.
I mean, that may or may not have worked for Robo Garcia. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, we got.
Well, what's the point? What's the point of playing all these veterans, and also what's the point of them not knowing what kind of talent they have? Obviously, So are they just falling into this right now?
Well,
are the Cubs just going to get lucky?
Well, yeah, they stumbled into some good shit right now.
Well, super small sample size, and if you want to talk about Swarmer specifically, I released something to just the Patreon people, so you should be a member of patreon.com/Son Ranto. If on Saturday morning to talk about Swarmer, because I knew nobody really knew who he was, and there's a great piece from Brian on Brian Johnson. I think that's his name, right?
From AC/DC?
I was just thinking that AC/DC's Brian Johnson is now covering the Cubs.
Nice.
No, Brian Smith. That's it. Brian Smith at Bleacher Nation. And he had a thing on Swarmer. And what Swarmer is, he's 27 years old, and he's like an organizational guy. So he's one of those dudes that have just been there to develop the real talent. And he's got this one slider that nobody can hit. And it was good enough to come up and be successful in 2 starts.
okay.
How long it works, I don't know. But like, remember, like Carlos Marmol had that slider for 2 years that nobody could hit. So if you got one of those, just keep throwing it.
This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, he was there to help develop the real players. Like, how come we don't know? Like, Horner just fucking got up off the couch and came to play because, you know,
Injuries.
everybody died back in that one fall and he had to play.
2019, yeah.
Yep.
And all they wanted to do for the next 2 years was send his ass back to AAA, and they just couldn't because he just kept playing. And then, you know, so that was like one of the first of them. I mean, but this even happened really with, I mean, Schwarber, they kind of knew, but he came up and played his way onto the team. Contreras was the same way. He wasn't supposed to be Wilson Contreras that we know. He was just supposed to come up and, you know, do a couple of things. And then all of a sudden we had our 3 catchers that we all know we need if we really want to win. He fucking just played too well to ever get rid of him. Why? I'm just trying to figure out why this organization doesn't know who they have. Until the guys just break in.
It's been the thing. They want so many at bats at this level, so many at bats at this level, and if they have to do it because of injury, then they'll do it. But I agree with what Lau just said, that if these guys, what are we doing? Like throwing these other, I mean, now the pitching's one thing, the hitting's a completely other thing, which we'll talk about after the break when we talk about the roster moves that are likely to come up. But Killian comes up, pitches 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks, only got in trouble in the one inning. Unfortunately, the Cubs lose this game in extra innings 7-4, basically because of, I feel like, a mismanaged bullpen by Ross for the weekend. But some risky business as well. But what did you guys think of Killian's start, and should he just be with the team?
He may as well. I think we answered that a second ago. We all just want to see these young guys play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, unless it's not good for his development or he's going to get hurt. I mean, if someone thinks they know better, then maybe not. But I would say yes, let the kids play. This team sucks.
I mean, they're all getting hurt in the minors, right? Like, you know, some of our best prospects have, you know, been going down with injuries all year.
Brendan
you may
Davis,
as well.
back surgery.
Miguel
Amaya's been down.
Ed Howard is, you know, lost a hip.
And some guys that are supposed to be in this rotation by now, like Braylon Marquez and Adbert Alzolay, has been on the shelf as well. So, like, they would be.
I totally forgot about Braylon Marquez.
Yeah,
these guys been a while.
Yeah, these guys were ahead of your Swarmers and certainly ahead of your Killians. Swarmer's not supposed to be here at all. This is like, you know, but he's doing well. So it's just funny when you give a guy a chance, you just don't know what you're going to get. And so Swarmer is, I guess, going to probably take some. He probably pitches against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. So good luck with that. I think that's a pretty good test. But hey, pitching against the Brewers and the Cardinals, and I mean that's pretty good test too. What else? So the young pitching, we have hope. I saw in the comments that somebody else has hope. Oh yeah, Tom Cooper says I am excited about the young pitchers that started this weekend. And David Elliott says, what is developing? The Growing Cubs podcast makes me feel like the whole roster should be replaced with prospects. But
it's easy to take their enthusiasm and just be like, fucking get rid of all of them.
Well, and that's kind of the thing that I'm wondering. It's like, I mean, you don't know what you have at the highest level of baseball until you test it out against it. And I mean, some guys like Adley Rutschman or whatever his name is, who's on the Orioles, and we're going to see in a couple days. Like, he's come up and he hasn't done what Christopher Morel did. He's batting 100. He's not getting it done. Like but he's their number one guy. Morel isn't the number one guy. He's coming up and hitting. Roberto Garcia was the same way when he came up to the Cubs. He had 2 weeks where he was incredible, and then he turned into what he is, you know, which is can't hit a slide ball. So anyway,
He's going to Korea though.
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, there's places for all these guys, you know. It's just like, but maybe Major League Baseball isn't the place. I don't know if it's the show is too big for them, but for Swarmer, it hasn't been, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, can we talk a little bit about the bullpen situation? Now, I know that you're playing 2 doubleheaders in a week. But Sarah Sanchez was like really big on this. We talked about it today on the Cup of Cubby Blue podcast. And the more I thought about it, the madder I kind of got about it. And that is, if Rowan Wick is one of your main guys that you're throwing in Game 3 on Saturday, in a game that you're winning 5-1, you make Rowan Wick take 2 innings at the end of the game to make sure you win that game. And he does great. Strikes out 3, 1 walk, 1 hit. He's totally fine. You put Efros in this game, okay? Just to get out of a bad Hughes situation. So, like, meanwhile, you have Anderson Espinoza, who you bring up as your 27th man for a doubleheader, and he doesn't pitch. They don't bring him up. They don't put him out there. You use all these guys in a game that you're winning by 4 runs, and then in Game 4, when it's actually close and you need Rowan Wick, you got to go with David Robertson for 2.1 innings and then bring in Rucker, who can't get an out. And by that time, it's too late.
you're bringing the closer in whatever that was, the 6th inning or whatever. It's not in the closer spot, which we know these guys don't like that when they're closers. So, you're already using him incorrectly.
Is it this man's fault? Is it David Ross's fault that the Cubs lost 3 of 5 games instead of winning 3 of 5?
It's the voice in his head.
Oh, the voice in his head? That voice in his head is actually Jed Hoyer on an earpiece.
Yeah.
Just like, don't you send Espinoza out there. He's only up here just to hang out.
I feel like I've been complaining about the Cubs bullpen mismanagement for like 18 years now.
I mean, everybody complains about their bullpens. I mean, Lyle, you're a Red Sox fan.
You don't love baseball if you don't complain about your bullpen. God damn it. My brother-in-laws are fucking Dodgers fans, and they're, an unstoppable force. And every other day they're like, this goddamn bullpen, fucking Kimbrel, I hate him. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You guys paid $390 million for that team.
We just hate how they're used.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, I remember the Joe Madden days. I could not stand the way he managed the pitching staff. I would lose my mind.
We called him Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Benny's Joe.
Bad name.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, is every team like this? I mean, obviously, we're a couple pitchers short of where the Cardinals were for this season, for this series, because we had 2 extra inning clown ball games, and we lost them both. We couldn't get through it. We couldn't get through the extra innings, and so I mean, I know he doesn't have anybody. Like, if you look up and down the Cubs, like, I've had this experience at the game where I'm like, why are they putting him in? And then
you're like, who else?
Yeah, then I look at the roster. I'm like, oh.
But okay.
But at some point, these guys are all major league players. They're all pros. If you're not going to use them, then they shouldn't be on the roster.
Right. Yeah. You get that whole the circle of trust that we keep hearing about, and it's like, I don't want a fucking circle of trust.
Especially when the team is at this level. You know what I mean? This is not a team fighting for anything. They're just fighting to stay on the roster, I guess. But play these guys. They're on the roster. Let them go. Let them get out there and throw the ball, because you're not winning anything this year.
Right. And I don't want them. I don't want David Ross or whoever is actually managing the team managing the game for the next game. But you have to know when Rowan Wick comes in and pitches 2 innings, he's burned for the next at least 2 days, right? Like, you can't use him anymore. Why are you doing that? You have
Anderson Espinoza, who you just brought up, and you didn't use him, period.
For literally that purpose.
Yeah, if you're going to piggyback anybody, it's that guy. Now, if you're going to use it, and if your plan was to use him in Game 2, because you weren't sure what Killian was going to do.
Well, then why
Well,
the fuck
then
was
knew
Daniel
that.
Norris out there?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he just forget that he had a 27th guy? Like
He's like,
that time that he forgot he had a third catcher on the staff and gave up his DH? I mean, like.
Okay, can we talk about this? This happened too, and I feel like this is in the same realm here. When you have a DH, why are you pinch hitting for the DH? That
Ever.
doesn't make any sense
what a
to
new
me.
DH. Designated hitter, a DH for the DH. A PH for the DH. That's a new obvious shirt. PH
Yeah,
for the
There you
DH.
go.
Okay, and I don't know enough about how you use a fucking DH because I hate it. But Lyle, you like the DH, you understand. So when you put a pinch hitter in for the DH, does that guy get to stay in there as the DH for the rest of the game?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know if it was like a pitcher situation. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like once you pull the DH, then you gotta like keep fucking bringing new guys in for him.
You could also replace him in the batting order and kind of do one of those things too. So he goes double switch. He ends up playing one of the positions, and then you put another DH in.
I mean, if he was moving to another position, I guess I would kind of understand that. But
I mean, I can't remember a time David Ortiz got pulled from only to run.
I thought the whole fucking point of a DH was that you didn't have to do this shit. Like you don't use a pinch hitter.
Baby. AL strategy. We're learning about it in SNL fans.
My favorite part is that if you have a pitcher who can actually hit, he can DH on his days off. He doesn't have to go learn a position.
Like Ohtani.
Like Carlos could have, imagine if Carlos could have hit on his days off.
Yeah, I could see Zambrano wanting to get out there and swing the bat.
So, Michael, will you give us the poem for the other win?
Shit, I don't even know.
Or do you have to do them in order? It would be game 3 that they won 6-0.
I can give you the win here.
All right, cool. Yeah, give us another win. Let's be positive.
You got some music for me here?
It's coming.
Oh, this one's tough. Yeah, this is. I'm not gonna be able to pull it. Okay.
Yeah, you want different music?
The Swarm, buzzing birds on bats, 4 innings, no cards hits. In 6 inning, pitcher win. Pujols 3K, but it was Schwindel day, and young Cubs proving they can really play.
Yeah, Cubs won they're out of the game 6-1. And yeah, I mean, Schwindel, since he rode that middle seat, man, he's been really good. He's
Power of the people.
And
I thought it was funny too that they brought in Pujols there in that 2nd inning because the right fielder hurt his leg, and so the first baseman went to right field, and then Pujols like
that's how he got
was
in the
not
game.
ready to play.
Yeah. He's like smells like Ben Gay still. But I mean, let's take this is the week of Cubs batting I'm putting up here on the screen right now. And you look at this week of baseball against the Cardinals and the Brewers, I might add. You've got 8 different guys with OPSs above 800 going from top to bottom. Ian Happ, number 1, 1.227. Wilson Contreras, 1.179. PJ Higgins with fewer at bats, but 1.159 is this moment has not been too big for him either as the backup catcher. Rafael Ortega, 1.129. Clint Frazier actually had not a lot of at bats, but he went 4 for 10. Made a couple of miscues in the field. Frank Schwindel, 1.024 on the OPS with 2 home runs. Wilson Contreras also has 2 home runs. Wisdom has 2 home runs. Christopher Morel is batting 300. I mean, it seems
but the bad thing is we went 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It's still, it's like
one more.
Those
Look,
are great numbers,
I say it all the time. If we're gonna be bad, we should at least be fun and pretty, and we're working on it. We're like doing all of the things except the winning part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will say that the 2 clown ball fucking fake Manfred Man bullshit games.
I hate it.
The Cubs should not have been in those situations at all because the umpires blew, and they blew in the best way possible for the Cubs, and they couldn't get anything done for them. And then the Cardinals kid fucking overruns third base,
Sosa,
or else
yeah,
he would have
missed
scored.
third, yeah.
Yeah, he had to go back. Like, everything fell into place for these guys to just win the game outright in 9 innings, and they could not do it.
You got to blame that offense, though. 3 for 18 runners in scoring position. Could not get the big hit at the right time. And in game 4, the first clown ball, and 3 for 15 runners in scoring position, game 2. So, you're scoring early. You're not scoring late. Cubs are number 1 in first inning runs scored. Like, do with that what you will. You're starting games, you're winning, and then you lose them anyway. I don't know. I don't know why they're losing these games or pissing them away late. But I will say this much: the Cardinals got.
I know why. They're not very good.
Yeah,
they're not a great team.
I mean, I think I lost
They're likable.
3 out of 4 games that I went to this past weekend, and it felt like we could have won all of them. Like, none of them felt out of reach.
Well, that one at the White Sox, the second game against the White Sox on the Sunday, that one went clown ball extras. And I don't know what the Cubs' record is in extra innings, but it's not good.
Well, it's 0-3 this week.
Much.
Yeah. And so it really, I mean, and I hadn't even asked you, Lyle, we haven't talked about too much of what you think of the runner on second situation and what it does to the game.
It's just silly. Like, I think baseball can tend to be a little too long sometimes, but I already know the problem is fucking commercials. So I don't know what the fix is. Obviously, that's the most important part to the league, is to have those commercials. I think in the playoffs, when there's a 17, 18 inning game, it's really exciting. I think in April, sometimes it's just it's a lot. But I don't think this is the answer. I think there's better ways to speed up the game. We've talked about it 100 times. I mean, I fucking bring back the bullpen cart, man. That's number 1 for me, man. That fucking long stroll out there. Just zip him out. Let's not go to break. Let's just fucking race him out there and start fucking throwing baseballs.
Well, IFG is real big into the Asian baseball. Should we get him the hovercraft?
I love the hovercraft. I think you'd have a hard time getting it away from Big Boss Shinjo.
Yeah, that was the guy. Big Boss came in the fucking hovercraft.
He is the best. I love Tsuyoshi Shinjo. No, but you know what they do? They just tie the game after 12 innings.
Yeah. Have ties. If you're so sad about playing forever. And the other thing,
and by the way, there's so many games. Ties would make it interesting.
Yeah, it does. When I can tell you
these
from
half games,
first-hand experience how annoying it is to lose a spot in the standings by a half a game.
Yeah, the NFL. I think the Steelers missed the playoffs 2 years ago by a tie, basically.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have it in soccer. If you want to shorten the game, do it that way. Just let them play regular. But what are they calling it?
I think it's something like, in the 11 squillion MLB games that there have been in the last 200 something years. I think only like 380 something games have gone past 12 innings anyway. Like, it almost never happens.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can just agree to cut it off and be done with it.
They fixed a problem that wasn't really there.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
And what it is here's what I think it is. The owners are looking at this and they just see the concessions are closed. The players are out
That's
there.
why I don't like it. I
like
hate it most when I'm at the game, because I'm just like, dude, where's my beer? Where's my
my beer? I'm sobering up out here.
This sucks.
Yeah, and so, but
we left an extra inning games one time, Danny, because we wanted beer.
They need to open beer sales back up in the 11th.
Yeah, just like if you're still here, then you've sobered up enough.
You haven't been drinking since the 8th. It's
Nickel
probably
beers
an hour and a half
12th.
later. Open it back up. Everybody gets another beer.
But that's why they want to shut it down. They're not making any money. This is just, they got the lights on. They're paying the staff. They're doing all this stuff, and they're not making any money. They're looking at that. They're like, from the 8th inning on, it's a money losing situation, and everybody knows billionaires hate that.
as soon as these in-game betting apps start working properly in the stadiums, they'll get rid of the Manfred ban and they'll fucking be pushing to get these games go longer.
Yeah. Well, and so our show doesn't go too long. I think we should take it to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I will regale you with tales of chopping a cup snake in half in public and losing a hat. And we'll talk
Hong
about
Kong Rocket.
Yeah, exactly. Kung Fu Rocket. And then we'll come back. We'll talk about Infield Fly Girl's trip. I got some pictures from that. Cubs roster moves. I guess Wilson Contreras is having his arbitration sometime this week. I don't know if that happened today.
It was supposed to be today.
I thought it was today.
Yeah.
I've been checking all day trying to see any fucking.
There's nothing on it. Yeah, there's nothing on it. So we're just going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. Please stick with us. We'll be back in a minute. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sonranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Son Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Son Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Son Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sonranto. That's patreon.com/sonranto. And become a super ranter today. So I had an interesting Saturday night in game 2 after having a few beers out at Club 400. You know, they're making the cup snakes like they always do out in the bleachers. Although this was a close game, went extra innings, and they're just not watching the game, just out there.
All these games were close, and they were just making cups. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. What about I was listening to the game when it was a 14-5 debacle. That was the only game that it was acceptable to be making cup snakes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't care that much because maybe if I was 23 years old and like me and Lyle are out there and everybody's made a cup snake, we might have done that stuff too. So I don't want to be too judgy. An old man yells at cloud.
You're 23 years old. And you had your 8-year-old out there holding the cup snake with you.
But I was sitting there in the bleachers. Bleacher Jeff had just left, so there's nobody yelling down cup snakes. He had a concert to go to. He went and saw Modest Mouse. Then Matt Cameron went to get some beer, and I'm sitting there with his fiance Kelsey, and I'm like, all right, I've had enough of this. I had just had enough liquid courage to just go do it, and they're making the cup snakes not too far from me. And I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Will you videotape me? I'm gonna karate chop that cup snake in half. And I told her I was gonna do it, so I'm gonna play the video here, and you can enjoy it.
I'm gonna karate chop it in half.
Stop saying no.
Watch it.
Do not go karate chop.
I'm gonna karate chop it.
He says, do not karate chop. I said, no, I'm gonna karate chop it. So I'm gonna narrate this thing. So I'm walking down the bleachers, trying not to fall over. Okay. And by the way, this is what cup snake people do. They walk around and collect the cups. So they're going everywhere. Hey, can I have your cups? Can I have your empties? So I make it over to the guy who's got the cup snake, but I realize that I need him to lift it up, and I need to limbo underneath the cup snake so I can turn around and be seen when I karate chop the cup snake for the camera. So I finally get up. The guy lifts it up for me, and I turn around and I chop it right in half. And then the guy gets pretty pissed off, and he looks and he sees I'm doing it for a camera, and then I kick his cups, which was probably a little bit too far. But I made it a better video here. I go underneath, chop, and now here's where I kick it at the end. I was like, "Fuck you, dude!" Boom. So
Did you get him? I think you got him in the face.
yeah. Well,
That was assault. That was assault.
I know.
I hope he has you arrested.
So since then I'm coming back.
You'll never be able to find him. It's not as if that video's out everywhere.
Yeah, I start getting booed. I start getting flicked off. People are throwing shit at me. My hat goes flying. Somebody knocks it off my head. I'm like, I better get out of here before I get killed because I know when I'm outmatched, I'm going to run away. But I think this, and I just want to put this out there. If they can stack it, I can whack it. And that's how it should be. So we should have some people that are the stackers and some people are the whackers. And you choose who you are.
You've got your t-shirt on.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Maybe I got to rethink this shirt. I don't know if I want to go out there with a whacker shirt on. But whacker drive, we could bring that into it. I don't know. It's a little Chicago action. But is there any way we can fight back against the Cup Snakes? Because I want to say you can have them. Blowout games, make your snakes. But
you secretly love the Cup Snake. I know you do.
I just want to sell. I just want to sell T-shirts. For example, we've got this T-shirt for sale at In the Clutch. We need more cups, and I know that people have bought it. Every time somebody buys it, we get $2.50. So I do not care if you like stacking cups and buying my shirts. By all means, do it. I would never do it. It's gross.
Karate Kid logo, but like the Cup Snake Kid logo with Danny kind of like karate chop, maybe doing the swan. Kind of. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Cup Snake Kid. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Danny. You want to know how you stop the Cup Snakes? You put a good fucking team on the field so these assholes can't get into the bleachers for $8 and there's nobody around, right? Because when the team's good and the seats are expensive and they're full, you can't walk around. You can't walk around and do that dumb shit. There's too many people there. You're fucking stuck where you're at or you're losing your spot. The way it is now, you got like half those seats are open, so they can just wander all over the fucking place, picking up the cups, doing all the shit.
Fly Girl, Cup Snake, yay, nay, indifferent.
It is still a pandemic, people. I don't want to touch that many things that have been that close to other people's faces.
I've worked in the restaurant industry my whole life, and I also am a bit of a germaphobe. I get skeeved out. I bust tables all night long, my entire life. I get skeeved out anytime I touch someone's fork where they've eaten from, and I scrub my hands. I can't imagine picking up a bunch of cups and it's not like dainty women out there. It is mostly bearded, sweaty, overweight, disgusting, drooly men everywhere in those bleachers, and they're disease ridden. All of them, I can tell just from here.
Half those cups are filled with chew spit and sunflower seeds.
Yeah. Paul Zumo said, I'd be a whacker. I hate the Cup Snake. Watch the game. And Dominic asks, are any other teams doing Cup Snakes? And, I don't know that. They even said it on Sunday Night Broadcast, I guess, is that it's a Chicago thing, but it's kind of new.
It's making national sports news. I think I sent you a couple articles that I keep seeing pop up. It was on ESPN, I think, a couple weeks ago.
It's not new. It was around back in the early aughts. The last time, when it was the Sammy Sosa days, I remember seeing people doing it back then.
I don't remember it too much. Maybe it was just in the blowouts. I mean, maybe I'm
Michael, yay, nay, indifferent.
I'm a nay anytime the game is good. Like if the game's and actually not even if the Cubs are winning and they're just killing the other team, I'm saying no. The only time it's acceptable is they're down by 10 and what else you got to do? It's like, okay, go ahead, do your shit. But if they're up by 10, you should just be having a good time, like cheering on a team hopefully run that score up. I'm not a big fan.
Matt brings it up because these guys wanted to fight me over doing that, by the way. So like these guys are half my age,
Well,
and Matt's
you were acting their age, so they just thought you were fair game.
Well, I told the guy in the front row, I'm like, well, I'm 48. Those guys are half my age. They're like, oh, you should probably not fight them. I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably definitely right. I should not. And then Matt says the best part is when an angry 19-year-old came over to confront Danny and a bunch of grown adult men. I just kept going like, go play with garbage, babies. Go play with your garbage. Go get your baba. That's what I kept saying. I think
I'm so glad I wasn't there. This is one of those situations, Daniel, where you start some bullshit. All of a sudden, I'm fighting 4 people because I'm a hothead and I lose my mind. And I'm like, why am I in jail today? Oh, Danny.
I'll come get you out. Don't worry about it.
Well, the Ranters would have gotten me out. That's what would have paid for,
Yeah, that's what it would have been.
Well, and speaking of tickets and beer, we did manage to get a few beers in Infield Fly Girl and when on your trip, all on the Ranters.
Danny just with the terrible phrasing all night. Just can't.
We all had some beer, and
We sure did.
Yeah, and we had a freaking awesome time of it. I'm trying to upload the photos that we had right now, but tell us about your trip, and I'll upload these suckers. First time at Wrigley.
First time at Wrigley. I've been a Cubs fan for forever and ever. And
what a dump, huh?
It was delightful.
No. See, Lyle, what we're supposed to do is like be the worst asshole Cubs fans ever, and just be like, you ought to have seen it when it was good.
Yeah, before the video boards,
before they changed all the shit.
So yeah, keep going.
We're totally
you
kidding.
You got your first timer certificate there down in the left field bleachers.
I took over Bleacher Jeff's seat. I basically informed him that I was going to sit there, and he was like, "Well, yes, please." Which makes
you're not a Cubs fan from Iowa who maybe comes to 20 games a year.
I can absolutely confirm I have not been to 20 Cubs games.
And we also, and you got your name up on the video board. You got a friend do that for you? Did you pay?
My workmate Chris Dunn used to work up there in the press box, and he called in a favor to put that up there for me. It was really, really awesome of him.
That's really cool. And I've never got my name up there. Just made fun of a lot of names on there. And then I think my favorite part of what happened was when your hat blew off onto the field.
Oh my gosh, it was so windy, and I had been losing the thing all night or all day and the night before, and it's just whatever, like catching it in midair and stuff. Yeah, but it blew down onto the field. The ball boy came over and grabbed it. He's like, "It's mine now." I ran down, and a really nice usher went and retrieved it for me. He was.
Well, I've seen that happen, and you just don't get that thing back. I was really surprised you got it back.
Yeah, it's like when you karate chop a cup snake and somebody throws your hat off. You're not getting that hat back. And then we went to the White Sox game, and we partied with my friend Lauren, and they had their L flags out there. And so we took a picture with some Sox fans, and it's a fun scene out there with the tailgate. It's nice that you could get to do it in the city. And then there we are at the game. And then do you remember this lady, the standing lady?
Oh my gosh. Why did she? She just would not sit down.
She wouldn't sit, and everybody's yelling at her behind her for 3 innings to please sit down. And then the game went extras, and then she finally just slowly wilted a little bit
She tried so hard to hold out.
I think the standing lady at the Sox game and the rain sitter at Wrigley need to get together and go bowling.
Yeah.
I think they would hit it off.
Yeah.
I want that YouTube video.
That's definitely a lot of stick-to-itiveness out of those two. It's pretty impressive. So I'm glad you had a good time. Definitely come back, absolutely come back.
I have to get a win at home.
Well, good luck with that, because maybe come back in a couple of years. Lyle, I think you might be muted.
Yeah. There we go.
I see you talking.
Oh yeah, I was trying to unmute it.
I saw Michael give me the old sign.
Well, I saw you talking.
Yeah, we're like, what is Lyle? I'm sure he's saying something awesome. So let's talk about
Always.
some of these Cubs roster moves real quick. Looks like VR is coming back tomorrow. Jonathan VR. I don't know anybody that's excited about that, but he's been okay and then not okay and then okay and then not okay. I'm not sure why he's on the team. Let the kids play or let VR play. Those are your choices at this point. Suzuki will be back later in the week, and that's good news. So hopefully his finger's okay. He'll be out of day-to-day situation once he's eligible to come back. And part of this is going to be that Bodie's going to be activated by law. Otherwise, you might lose him because you'd have to option him or DFA him or something. And who's going? I mean, let me put back up this list of the Cubs offense. And wait, did I? Oh, yeah, here we go. Ortega. He's been doing good. I mean, you get rid of Alfonso Rivas at this point. He's having a rough time of it. Andrelton Simmons, I don't know what the hell he's doing here at all. Nick Madrigal still got options. I mean, who's your pick for Bodie to replace, for VR to replace? I mean,
I think it's got to be Rivas, right? Like,
Well, you have to also realize they're going to make some moves at some point soon, so just keep an eye on that too. You're gonna have some roster spots just based on that.
There's Ortega, probably somebody would want that kind of lefty bat in the middle of their lineup.
Now that he's not the leadoff hitter.
IFG, who you
every
got?
Single game.
Who you got going off the team?
Well, I never get my way in these things, but I think I'd go with Andrelton.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to do it because they paid him $4 million. Is the
Right,
problem?
but
and that's why I say
I understand the concept of a sunk cost. Like you had to pay somebody, so they paid him, and they paid him not very much, but so just eat it and let somebody play who's meaningful.
they're gonna. It's gonna be Rivas. He's gonna be the guy, or Rivas and Ortega, just to move those guys around.
At some point, I think you do realize that some of these players are sunk costs. You're gonna have to just move on from some of them. I mean, maybe someone like Hayward gets released. How about that?
I would
just put him out of his fucking misery.
Well, Jurgo stuff says trade Hayward.
No.
Who are you trading with?
No.
Please.
Now Wilson, I would bet ends up a Padre or a Yankee sometime in the next month.
Stupid.
Sadly,
Right.
It's what's going to happen. So just get ready for that.
Yeah, John says, well, Bodie strikes out just as well as the rest, so I might as well have him up.
Right. He's going to show up in midseason form.
Yeah. And Jack, if this is the same Jack as Jack Pashuovic, thanks for the ticket. He got me tickets, front row seats to that Strowman blowout. Boy, I had a great view of that one. Boy, I saw Frank Schwindel's fastball up and close. That was awesome.
Oh, bless.
Oh, Jesus. Bless his heart. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, people aren't even saying in the chat who they'd want,
Yeah, because...
Yeah,
everybody
I
wants
agree
to
with the IFG. I think it should be Andrelton Simmons. He's the one I don't want to watch play.
Right.
But see, that's just never going to happen. And we know that because the Ricketts are fighting with Wilson Contreras today about $1.25 million.
Right.
The best player on their team. And they're saying, nope, we're not going to give you not a dime more if we can help it. So there's no way they're letting go of Andrelton Simmons in a $4 million contract.
Yeah, and then the sad thing, and I want to bring this up kind of to end this segment, is the fact that it could very well be somebody like Christopher Morel, which would be insane because this from Buster Olney, unforgivable. Because Christopher Morel has reached base with a hit, Walker hit by pitch in all 19 games he has played.
That is 20 now.
20 now. Yeah, that's the longest on-base streak to start a career and counting by any active player. The next longest was Bo Bichette, who reached safely in each of his first 17 games. Now, I understand this is just to start a career and stuff, but if Morel, just because of options, is the guy that goes down, and the only reason to watch this ball club right now goes to Iowa, I'm moving to Iowa with that guy who wants to take Bleacher Jeff's seat.
Do it. Go.
And that's what's insane. He is right now the most exciting guy on this team. He's the leadoff hitter that Cubs fans have been looking for I don't know.
Ever since Dexter?
80 years, he's better than Dexter was. Like Dexter was there just to
Well,
be,
come
you
on.
know.
Dexter Fowler has a pedigree. Christopher Morel's been here for 20 games.
Well,
Hold your phone.
Small sample size, of course. Yes. But
Settle down, Michael.
But he's really like he's doing the thing that everybody's been wanting forever. Like they just want this dude. And then, batting right behind him, you got Wilson Contreras, and they're gonna get rid of him too. Like these are the two guys right now that make the Cubs worth watching, is seeing them come up 1-2, and they're both gonna be gone by like the end of the month because of options and just really terrible baseball decisions.
Let's just call it what it is. Capitalism. They're gone. Yes. Capitalism once again, undefeated and ruining our lives. So just saying. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to give away the Amazon prize of the month because we're also doing that. It's hilarious. I looked up we made $11 through the Amazon search bar, and I'm giving away basically $10 worth of stuff. So
Danny, before we go, I want you to think during the break, would you rather for the rest of your life take part in Cup Snake or the Wave at Wrigley? We'll talk about that when we get back.
Ooh, that's a good one.
In the chat, everybody chime in on that one.
Yeah, chime in. We'll be right back.
This is a Cubs fan buying tickets from the Cubs. And this is a Cubs fan buying tickets through the StubHub link at sonranto.com/StubHub, knowing that 4% of their ticket purchase will go to the Son Ranto Show instead of into the pockets of rich corporate douchebags. Buy all your tickets through sonranto.com/StubHub. Don't worry, it won't cost you a single penny extra. It don't stink to click our link. This is an Amazon shopper buying things from Amazon. And this is an Amazon shopper buying things through the links at sonranto.com/Amazon, knowing that up to 10% of their purchase will go to the Son Ranto Show instead of that cocksucker Jeff Bezos, who will just use the money to go to space. Plus, if you buy all your Amazon items through sonranto.com/Amazon, you could win a monthly prize. sonranto.com/StubHub and sonranto.com/Amazon. Two great ways to support the Son Ranto Show while sticking it to evil corporations who suck. And it won't cost you a single penny. It don't stink to click our link.
Welcome back to the Son Ranto Show. Most people are going Cup Snake over Wave. Wave has a long history of being illegal at Wrigley. Cup Snakes are allowed, but just with a caveat, I think is what.
Yeah, I thought about it as well, and I was thinking Cup Snake is the way to go because at least you can kind of say like, oh, well, Cup Snakes were invented in the bleachers, which I have no idea if they are, but you could make that fucking stupid argument. And the Wave, no, the Wave's just been wrong forever. So like you could just say this is our thing.
84.
Yeah.
So so we're going to give away another prize here. We've got a set of Bleacher Bum band shot glasses to give away right now to the Patreon person of the month. This is how this works, okay? There were 46 items. Could you take that banner off real quick? The comment. So there were 46 total items. Actually, only 43 are showing up here, but there were 46 total items. So I'm going to do the number picker, and whatever number corresponds to the item number, that is who will win. And all you have to do is come forward as the purchaser of said item, and you will win the Bleacher Bum band shot glasses. So let me share my Chrome tab here, and here's the number picker wheel. God, I love the wheels. So 1 to 46, we're gonna spin the wheel. Can I get some wheel spinning music?
Aren't you in charge of the generic?
Well, I'm doing a lot of things here.
God, please don't let it be my St. Louis Cardinals butt plug.
The winner is number 3. 3 is the winner. It's kind of got a nice little sound to it. Congratulations, number 3. Let's see what that item was. I will I know it's going to be something bad. Number 3 is the cool QO compatible with iPhone 11 case and 2 times tempered glass or something like that. So whoever bought an iPhone case, number 3, you're the winner. Please contact me, sonranto@gmail.com, and collect your winnings. Congratulations, number 3. Next on the show, we're going to bring on a new guest that we've never had on the show, and her name is Heather Linington Noble. She's an Orioles blogger and fan, always out at the game. Great Twitter follow, and welcome to the show, Heather.
Hello, everybody. Is my mic all set up? It's working?
Yeah,
good to
you
go.
sound
Okay,
great.
good.
So,
Hi.
hi. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show. And we basically, surprisingly, for Cub fans anyway, have the same team. You lost one more game than us. We're a half game back. You're 23-22. Wait, no, is it? Do I have that right? No, I'm not. That's not correct. Sorry, I wrote it down wrong. 23-28.
23 and 33.
33, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Maybe close to the same record, Danny, but I'm going to have to say that Orioles fans have been suffering way longer than Cubs fans right now.
Orioles fans also love the fuck out of this team. Like,
Yes.
We are not sad at all this season. We are delighted. Like, this team is just full of these great guys with so much positive energy, and it's just been joyful to watch in a way that the team has not been since 2016.
Wow,
So-
that's
awesome.
That's interesting. So, I think we started feeling that way in Chicago around 2014 with our guys, like feeling that sort of like that positive energy coming out of the dugout and having some fun. So you're saying that's the vibe there.
Oh yeah, the vibes on this team are just absolutely incredible.
Well, it's a tough division too. So, I mean, you're not in last. I mean, you are in last. Boston was. But no, last time I looked, Boston wasn't last because they had a really rough start to the season. But now, Baltimore is. But 23 and 33 is better than it used to be, right?
Boston can barely beat the Orioles. We've played them 8 times and they've won 3 of those games. So, yeah.
We're talking about the Cubs here. Can we please move on to the Red Sox, Danny?
In case you're wondering, Lyle is a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, full disclosure. And you just lost 2 or 3 to Cleveland and Seattle. Now the run scoring isn't really there yet. 4th worst OPS, 7th fewest runs scored, bottom of the league in walks and strikeouts and homers and stuff. How much do you blame the new wall?
No, the wall has nothing to do with it. The wall is helping us. I mean, the only person who is really mad about the wall is Aaron Judge, and that's just fodder for us to be able to make fun of him every time one of our players hits a home run over the wall. The big issue with the start, slow start for home runs for us at Camden Yards has been the weather, not the wall, because the heat and the humidity impact the way that balls fly in Camden Yards so much. And with the dead ball this year, the colder weather at the beginning of the season was really just making it so that they weren't leaving at all. But so many home runs have been hit at Camden Yards over the last few series there as it's been getting warmer. And
Interesting.
And so many runs have been scored. I think the last game, 5 home runs were scored or hit, and that's been a pretty common occurrence over the last few series to have between like 3 and 6 home runs scored combined. I'm
looking at it here. It's like the last few games. Yeah, it's scoring 6 runs, 9 runs, 5 runs, 10 runs in a win against Boston. Lyle.
Yeah. So over the last 30,
Thanks,
over the last 30 days, the Orioles are actually 11th in the league in home runs. So they've hit 33 home runs in the last 30 days. So
It's coming alive.
Yeah, you can see that there's a huge difference between the Orioles offense in the first 30 days and since then. And I mean, part of it, there's a little bit of like DFAing really bad players and bringing in new ones, and then a little bit of guys who had slow starts to the season picking up, like Trey Mancini and Austin Hayes and Ryan Mountcastle, and the big one being Rougned Odor. Like, he had a very slow start to the season, and he has been rocking the fuck out of it the last few weeks.
You've got a few veterans that I mean, I was kind of expecting to not really know any of your players. Like, whenever I look at the Orioles roster, I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? But then you had built some veteran presence on this roster. But talk about using a lot of players. You're totally right. I'm putting up basically your offense for the season right now, and there's quite a few guys that have played games so far. So yeah, a lot of roster shifting around, and
you can see how many times we've lost our DH in games by the fact that Jorge Lopez and CNL Perez are both in our offense.
Oh yeah, you had pitchers batted. What is this, the NL?
They never actually batted, but they ended up
in the spot.
Ended up in the spot. Yeah. The Orioles have played a lot of extra innings games and a lot of very, very long 9 innings games. So they have been much more competitive than their record would suggest. They've lost a whole lot of close games, which has been one of the frustrating things, but also one of the things that I think is making fans excited and optimistic.
So you're seeing a future here.
Yeah.
The leader of your team, Anthony Santander, 9 home runs. He's got the highest home run total. OPS wise, it's Trey Mancini, who's mostly a DH, I think, right? And then Austin Hayes is up there in the 800. So like, if these dudes are starting to warm up, I think weather's going to be pretty warm this week.
Right. And what you don't see there is Rougned Odor, whose numbers still look pretty low, but that's because he was so bad the first month and a half or whatever, that he's still climbing. See, it says 225 average and 698 OPS now, which is he's really rising up there, but you can see he's got 26 RBI and whatnot, and most of that has just come in the last few weeks of play.
David Elliott chimed in here. So Baltimore DFA's bad players and brings up good ones. What a novel concept.
Yeah, we're not good at that. We get attached to our garbage. That's why we play with cup snakes.
Yeah,
we like playing with garbage. That's what we do. So, and then your bullpen, and we'll get into the stars we're going to face. It's actually pretty good. I was pretty impressed. 3.13 ERA, 5th in the majors. Cubs are higher than that at 3.92. Tell me about.
So the bullpen was actually had the best ERA in the majors until about a week ago, because we only have 4 starters right now. So they had to have a kind of throwaway bullpen game where they called up 2 guys that were bullpen players and counted toward the bullpen ERA that Hyde knew full well that they were gonna give up runs and that the team was not gonna win that game, and then sent those guys right back down. And before that game, that was a game that the Mariners shut us out 0-10.
That was right after beating Boston 10-0.
10-0.
Did you hear about that game? Did you watch that one when Boston lost?
I can't hear you. My headphones aren't working, Danny. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, but before that game, the Orioles bullpen actually had the best ERA in the entire league. So the numbers are skewed because of that game in specific.
Well, I'm going to put up some names. Once again, a lot of names out there that you've been using throughout the years or throughout the year so far. But looks like Keegan Aiken has taken the most innings. Does he?
Yeah.
And so, like, if you were the manager and you were going to have your circle of trust, if you're winning a baseball game, a tight baseball game, like you said, you've played a lot of, let's say you're winning, you're beating the Cubs in the 7th. Who do you bring in to do your 7th, 8th, 9th?
Okay, so 7th, 8th, and 9th, you're going to want to do probably Dylan Tate, Jorge Lopez, sorry, Jorge Lopez is the closer. So Dylan Tate, Cianel Perez, and Felix Bautista. Keegan Aiken is a long relief guy. He's a former starter who was not good as a starter. He was a bad starter, but was put in this long relief role and is thriving in it. So he's the guy who, when your starter gets pulled in like the 4th or the 5th, you stick him in for 3 innings or 4 innings and he eats those up. And Joey Kriebel, he's been great too, but he's the guy who you stick in the 6th or whatever.
Okay.
Cianel Perez is the lefty specialist. So that's, you put him in against the tough lefties.
Well, you look at these ERAs and they're minuscule.
Yeah.
I mean, Keegan Aiken, who you mentioned as being your long guy, 35.2 innings pitched, 2.02 ERA. Dylan Tate, 165. And I'm going down in numbers of innings pitched. 165. Jorge Lopez, 1 ERA. 196 for Felix Bautista. Joey Kriebel?
Kriebel, yeah.
Kriebel, 274. Cianel Perez, who you just mentioned, 1. The only guy with an ERA over 4 who's taken a lot of innings, 18.1, is Brian Baker for 491. So right. If you're losing, then you put Brian Baker in. Is that what you're telling me? And any of these other guys?
Right. Well, you put him in when losing, or he's not great at protecting ties or like 1-run leads, but he's good if you've got a like 2 or 3-run lead. Brian Baker is a guy who he had pitched 1 professional inning before this season. The Orioles like picking up guys that were DFA'd by Tampa or Toronto after having pitched a single inning and then sticking them in our bullpen. So that's what they did with Baker. And it's trial and error figuring out where he works.
Well, and it's not a bad way to go, because both those organizations seem to really have their finger on the trigger right now. Great pitchers for years and years and years.
Yeah. And a lot of those guys that you're seeing there that are in that bullpen who are playing so well, a good portion of them are guys who the Orioles picked up on waivers. I think the 2 in there that were Orioles prospects were Keegan Aiken and Felix Bautista.
The Cubs probably passed on their opportunity to get these guys because they didn't have Tommy John surgery or some kind of injury.
We did trade for Dylan Tate. Dylan Tate is the one player from the Manny Machado trade who has actually worked out. So wait, was he Manny Machado?
Well,
trade,
it sounds like you're putting.
No, sorry, he wasn't even Manny Machado trade. He was traded for Zach Britton. So he was from the Zach Britton trade.
So if you were going to put the Orioles anywhere right now, like how many years out do you get? The Yankees are having just a really hot start to the year. That's going to be a tough team to catch up with. I mean, how about a wild card spot? Like, where would you're feeling hopeful in Baltimore, but how long till you think you can get there?
This is a little harder than an answer than it would have been like a week ago. Now that Grayson Rodriguez is out for a few months with a grade 2 lat strain, if he were not uninjured and had been called up like we expected it to, with Adley up. Adley is struggling offensively right now, but I'm not concerned about him. He's going to pick up and he's going to start hitting and he'll be amazing. And he's already the best defensive catcher that we've had in I don't even know how long. And so with Grayson and with DL Hall coming up at some point soon, and with these random guys that we have who've been pitching really well, I would say that there even be a potential that we could fight for a wild card spot next season, because next season we will have Gunnar Henderson up at some point, who has been the best player in the minor leagues this season. But we don't even know if Grayson Rodriguez is going to see any of the major leagues this year, or if it's not going to be until next year that
because of the injury
starts because of the injury. And we know that when DL Hall does get called up this year, his innings are going to be really limited. So I do think that it's going to be a significantly better team next season. I do think that this team is going to be better in the second half this season than it has been in the first half, because
and as you know, the hard part in the AL East is every single one of those teams now likes to spend money and will buy. Being a Red Sox fan, the Yankees and the Red Sox are always going to spend money. The Red Sox don't look like they have a great core all the time moving forward. Their pitching staff's a disaster. But you have Tampa, who always seems to be in it, and then Toronto. So it's just always a tough fight. But Baltimore does have the best young, talented team in that.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. I think that the goal is to build a homegrown team as much as possible when it comes to position players and the bullpen and a handful of starters. But one of the main reasons that they moved back the wall is because they want to be able to sign some good starting pitchers to the rotation, because guys did not want to sign in Baltimore because of the wall.
It's like signing in Colorado or something,
right? Right, exactly. Because the ball just flies out, and these pitchers who've been pitching to a 2.5 ERA elsewhere, they didn't want to come to Camden Yards and have their ERA inflated up to a 4 or 4.5 or whatever, because the balls that they're hitting that would be called in the warning track are suddenly just flying out of the park. So a lot of people like to make jokes that the reason why it was done was just to make it so that instead of developing pitching, that they could just, create pitching that way. But it was, of course, the pitchers prefer it, obviously. But the pitchers not with the team right now who are going to be free agents prefer it too, and then we'll actually be able to sign guys.
Let me ask you about some of your starters real quick. It's like Kyle Bradish is going in game 1. Jordan Lyles, the veteran, going in game 2. Bradish has a 6.82 ERA, so it hasn't been going great for him. The Lyles has a 4.50 ERA. So is it just that your starters are not good and then the bullpen's good? And that's, I mean, can you add, like, if you were to add some top line dudes, like, does this like overnight a different team kind of thing? Like, because the starters aren't good?
For one, we only have 4 starters right now.
Yeah, well, so that's one problem.
Just even having a 5th starter would change things significantly. Bradish is one of the Orioles' top prospects, and he's had a handful of incredible starts and a handful of bad starts. And I think that the thing with him is just getting it together. And he's a young prospect. He's new to the major leagues, and this is common with young guys who are new to the majors. Sometimes you just get off to a slow start. So I think that we're going to see him settling in and picking up, and that he'll end up with a much better ERA over the course of the season. And we really like Jordan Lyles. He's been very good for us. He's had a few bad outings, but has mostly been very good. And he was signed to be an innings eater, and he's more than done that for us. He's pitched, 5, 6, 7 innings and won games. And then Tyler Wells, he's gone above and beyond our expectations. But I do think that, yes, just even if we had a 5th starter who actually had, okay, so I'm going to backtrack a little and just kind of stop all of that and go to something that I was saying during the off season. What I've been saying is that if the starting pitching ERA this season, if it can be sub 5, combined sub 5 ERA for the starting pitching, this team will have a considerably better record than it has in any year since 2016.
That shouldn't be that much to ask either.
No, it shouldn't. It should not be. But the Orioles have not had a starting rotation under 5 ERA.
Well, you're going up against
since
Marcus
then.
Stroman, who does not have a sub-5 ERA after his last terrible start at Wrigley Field against Jordan Lau. So that's kind of a bit of a veteran. That's
Right.
game 2. And then Keegan Thompson, which is like, he's kind of our young guy who, he's our Kyle Bradish, I guess, And
Yeah.
so that's like the prospect game. And then you kind of got the veteran game. Both these games are, I think, at 6:00, somewhere
Yeah.
around there. And,
we do 7:05 Eastern time.
so 6:05 Central. And the weather, I don't know. Like you tell me. I know it gets pretty humid there in Baltimore this time of year. It's going to be 87 on Wednesday, low of 69.
87, low of 69 with that thunderstorms. That's
gonna be
saying
humid.
that's saying home run weather to me, because that's a classic Baltimore summer day. You get that heat and the humidity pumps up, and you get the atmospheric instability, and then boom. So with tomorrow,
It's
no.
a bad hair day, I believe they call them too.
My hair thrives in the humidity, so it's a good hair day for me. But I know it's the opposite for most people.
I'm at the age where I have just no hair days. I never notice my hair. It does nothing. So I gotta ask you,
Danny. I have a couple hard hitting questions that I'd like to ask.
please.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Heather, crab cakes or Chicago beef?
Crab cakes.
All right.
I don't eat beef, so
Infield Fly Girl, what do you say? Crab cakes or Chicago beef?
Ooh.
It's tough,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
can
right,
I have both too?
Um,
Can I have a crab cake on top of a beef?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Michael.
Surf and turf.
Michael, The Wire or Roseanne? What's a better show?
He's muted.
Oh, Michael's muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, The Wire. Holy crap.
All right.
Roseanne.
All right, Danny, John Waters or John Hughes?
Oh, that's tough. I got to go
Ooh,
Waters though. I got a Baltimore person on the show. I can't
No,
not
I'm
say
going-
Waters with that. Yeah.
I got to go Hughes all over for that. Yeah, John Waters is fun, but
All
John
right.
Hughes. Come on.
Infield Fly Girl, Billie Holiday or Muddy Waters?
Muddy Waters.
All right. And then lastly, Heather, I'm going to ask you, Cal Ripken or Ryan Sandberg?
Cal Ripken.
Obviously,
question is
it's
that?
the right answer. What kind of question is that? Cal Ripken, Muddy Waters was the correct answer. Danny John Waters was right. Roseanne was the correct answer.
Yeah.
Not the Wire.
I agree. Never even seen that. I got a question like that. Real baseball card or NFT baseball card from Candy that they're giving out on game 2 to get people into the ballpark.
That's
on
weird.
Wednesday's game.
Hold on. You can give away NFTs as a giveaway?
You're like a
I don't know.
text-
I don't know.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, we're just gonna walk in and they're gonna.
It's
hand
fine. I got a
it to
screenshot.
us.
Everybody's getting an NFT
So do
that's
I. It's
watching
right
the
here.
show right now.
Look,
There
I
it
You
is.
know,
got one.
I was trying to decide whether or not I should go to the games or not, and obviously now I have to,
Yeah,
so that I
you
can get this super cool
Yeah.
NFT.
Now, if it was an NFT of the Billy Ripken card that says "fuck you" on the bottom, I'd totally go.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you
Fuck
go.
face. It said.
Yeah, fuck face.
Yeah,
fuck
fuck
face.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greatest baseball card of all time.
Okay, so Heather, if some Cubs fans are going to head out to Baltimore, because they aren't working, they're the other 15%, right? They want to go out to the game. They want to see what's going on. Like, what can they expect at Camden Yards? Where should they go? Is it a fun place for visiting fans? I mean, Lyle, you would maybe know a little bit about this as well. What can they expect, and where should they go? What should
What should they eat?
Yeah, what should we eat and drink?
So, Orioles fans are very nice. Like the environment at Camden Yards is just super positive. So, people are just excited that everybody is there.
Think St. Louis.
no.
I like the duck.
Yeah, so for food at Camden Yards, you guys were asking about crab cakes or beef, or Chicago beef. You got to try some Baltimore beef, and they've got a Boog's Barbecue at the park, which is pit beef, and that is Baltimore barbecue and Baltimore beef.
Wait,
So
whose barbecue is that?
Boog Pal.
Boog's
Oh,
Barbecue.
okay. I got a little confused because
Yeah.
we have a Shambi booger in our booth,
Yeah, we
and
got
I was
Boog.
confused.
Well, you
about
know
where
we're
he
gonna have
was.
to hear about that as Boog takes credit for it.
It's going to be all both games. That's all they're going to talk about.
Yeah, occasionally Boog will be there in the line standing while everybody goes through, so that everybody who wants to can stand and get a selfie or a picture with him.
I thought you meant he
autograph
was
and a
waiting to get his own
hug.
food.
No, he doesn't own the stand anymore, because apparently he had to move back to Florida because his wife isn't doing well. So the team bought it from him, but they fly him out for a number of games a season so that he can keep on doing his whole like greeting the fans as they buy barbecue thing, which
And
is
can
very
you-
sweet.
I went to I think it was 2017 that the last time the Cubs were in Baltimore, and I went to the game. It was Jose Quintana's first game that he had 12 strikeouts or something like that. And I went to it's like a seafood cafeteria, and not too far from the ballpark, maybe a mile or something like that. And I'm having trouble remembering the name of it, but it's like that you walk in and there's multiple stands where you can it's like a fish market or something like that.
Oh, do you mean the
I'm gonna look it up really.
yeah, the main I am such a bad Baltimorean right now that I'm blanking on the name of our main market.
Fadley's in Lexington Market.
Lexington Market, yes.
Yeah.
Lexington Market is going through a lot of renovations right now, and I'm not sure how much of it is open at the moment.
Okay.
But for food outside of the stadium, don't get stuff in the like immediate vicinity of Camden Yards or in the Inner Harbor. The food in Baltimore City is amazing. It is such a good food city. It is incredible, and you would not know that getting food in the Inner Harbor or right around Camden Yards, because that's where all of the chains are, or the tourist trappy food. And Baltimore
You find the same at Wrigley.
Yeah, Baltimore has very few chain restaurants, or chains in general. Like, there are very few, but that's where they're located because local businesses can't afford to be there. So you want to go into Highlandtown or Hamden or Mount Vernon or Federal Hill, and just one of the actual neighborhoods.
Just get away. Get out of the neighborhood, or get out of the vicinity of the stadium and go into a neighborhood. Google map it. Look at your whatever app you like to use for travel.
Baltimore City diners are incredible. I mean,
I love diner food.
There's
the best.
a movie that
Baltimore,
was made.
Baltimore and New Jersey are the two best diner cities in America.
Yes, exactly.
Or state cities, but
Baltimore diners are just top notch. And people always ask where to go to get seafood in Baltimore, and people will name this restaurant or this restaurant, and my answer is always the diners. It doesn't matter which one, go to the diners.
They're gonna have the best grandma's soup recipe or something.
Yeah, they're gonna have the best Maryland crab chowder, because Maryland has a specific crab chowder. They're gonna have the best crab cakes.
I am so effing hungry right now. Like, I'm
Danny, how's that chicken?
I know. I didn't even eat dinner. I was telling him that my chicken sandwich didn't cook in time because my stove is kind of on the fritz. So you're talking about all this food, and I'm like, oh God, I had a piece of cheese before I started the show. I'm dying.
Yeah. And like near me, there's a pizza restaurant that has been open since like 1942, and it's what they call now Baltimore style pizza, which was originally based on Greek style pizza, which is not something that like anywhere anywhere else in the country does.
What's Greek
And-
pizza? What does that
It's
entail?
the crust. The crust
So-
is different.
Yeah, it
Nah,
is.
it's got feta cheese on it. That's the only
No,
difference.
no,
It's just
Olive.
feta on red sauce. It's
So
nothing.
the crust itself is pan fried
Mm.
before the pizza itself is baked. So all the crusts are like pre-cooked before you order the pizza, because they're all pan fried to make it so that they are this like kind of crispy, buttery crust that's a combination of like flaky and crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. So it's like it's not a deep dish, but it's thicker than regular pizza while still being like crispy. It's delicious.
Angel Moreno's writing in, that black cat is friendly. Those that are listening only to the podcast version of this show don't know that I Have Cheese got a cat that wants her attention, I think, at this point. Would rather the show be over soon.
No,
so
he
that,
he wants our attention. He's
I think
"It's
that
my
cat wants
big
crab
chance."
cakes. That cat wants crab cakes as much as the rest of us.
I just want to say that our black cat is friendly and likes to bite.
Yeah,
All right.
mine too. I got a friendly black cat who also likes
Yeah.
to bite. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Alexander Guinness Humphrey Bogarts, and he is just dying for attention in general. But he watches TV with me, and he has very strong feelings about baseball. So
Don't we all? So I really appreciate you coming on, Heather. First time guest, hopefully not the last time. We don't play Baltimore too much, but we'll definitely see you on Twitter, and we'll have a fun time this weekend. Just like two mediocre teams freaking having at it.
Heather, who's the next Jake Arrieta that the Cubs are going to steal from you guys, and just so we know who to look out for and really pay attention to.
I mean, that's just going to be a thing of the past now that two things have happened. The wall has been moved back, and we don't have a really fucking shitty pitching development staff in the minors and majors anymore.
Yeah. Jake definitely was not happy with what was going on in Baltimore. It was very
No,
vocal
Oh
about
my
it.
God.
He would talk about it all. Anytime you asked, he would talk about it.
The pitching development and coaching in the Duquette era was so terrible. Can I tell you how happy I am for Kevin Gosman that he is doing well now, because I always believed in him and I always knew he was going to be an ace and that it was not going to happen while still in Baltimore. So
Pincus
good for
asks,
him.
is there another Stropy for us too? But it sounds like there's not, that you're just going to keep the guys that are good and actually go for it, which if you ask me, Baltimore's been, I love Baltimore. Like my band used to play in Baltimore all the time. We used to play Fletcher's. I don't know if that place is still around or anything, but Dingleberry Dynasty was like our sister band, and they were a lot of fun. And I had so much fun in Baltimore playing 8x10 Club. I think we played one time. And just what an awesome city. I've always had a good time there, and you guys deserve to be competitive in the AL East. It's a tough division, and I want nothing. Just like the White Sox, you got to bring Earl Weaver back. Bring your old manager back. Try to make it happen. Is it Earl Weaver still alive?
No,
I didn't think so.
He died 6 years ago.
To be fair, we're not sure if Tony La Russa is still alive.
Still
either.
alive either. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not
they
sure.
just put him in the dugout. It's like Bernie's.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Brandon Hyde can do over the next few years. He's been dealt a difficult hand and has been, I think
Another Cubs connection.
He's been exceeding expectations in my mind with what he has been given. I don't think that a lot of other people could be making this group of guys do what they're doing. So
Well, I mean, it's a one Cubs convention. Him and Robinson Chirinos are our Cubs convention on this on this Orioles team right now. So, well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely talk to you again soon, and we'll let you go and then try to finish off this show somehow because we always have trouble doing that. And Lyle's like, damn it, I need to go by 9:30, you idiot. So, all right, well, thank you so much, Heather.
Thanks, Heather. We appreciate you.
Where can
Thanks,
people
Heather. Nice meeting
where
you.
can people find you on Twitter?
Yeah, you guys can find me at. I really need to change my handle to something.
It's like
that's easy.
Elaine Focal or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Irish, and I should Google it at some point. So it's at ALAINNFOCAIL. It's probably like Elaine Fouchile or something like that. But yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, follow Heather on there, and thanks for coming on Son Ranto. We'll talk to you again soon.
yeah. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. Bye. Very cool. A couple of announcements. We'll get out of here. Bleacher Bum Band. Looks like we're gonna go on July 2nd. I don't know if we should play pregame or postgame. It's a 6:00 start against Lyle's Boston Red Sox, and I know my friends. I know that they won't be at the show after a game.
Right.
Because
Pregame.
they're a bunch of lousy drunks. So that's why I say pregame. Yet, Bleacher Jeff's like, oh, the bullpen really wants to come see us, so we have to go postgame. And I'm like, well, and also people like to party and watch rock bands post after games. Maybe people haven't seen us. So I have a poll up on Twitter, pregame or postgame. Take a look, vote, and then I will still do what I want to do. But I did want your input. This Wednesday night, I believe we are going to try to have a Twitter space like we did last week. It went really well. Like 100 people came through. We're talking. We had a great time of it. We had Miguel blanking on his name. Esparza, the Spanish language voice of the Chicago Cubs, came through, gave us like some fun stuff about Christopher Morelli just to talk to him and stuff. So never know what's going to happen in there. Jack Pastrovic, a lot of guys who the Ranters know came through. We had a great conversation. So we're going to try to do that after the game on Wednesday night. And also we'll do a Yankees preview for the Patreon people. At some point, we'll be releasing that through the Patreon feed only. It'll be a podcast only. Just want to let you know. And Baseball Rabbit Hole, you've been knocking out the podcast there, Michael, and you got a new theme song.
Yeah, I will
made
be
you one.
debuting it hopefully on Monday. I'm working on that episode now, and I thought doing names of the teams would be like a really quick, easy one to run through, and I'm finding out that no, they're really long and in depth because none of these teams ever want to keep the same name for very long. For some reason.
They used to just be nicknames, right? Well, we got to listen.
Yeah.
We're not talking about right now. We're gonna talk about the chance for a chance. Now, Angel Moreno correctly points out that Miguel Esparza is the Elvis impersonator. Yeah, he also not only was he Spanish voice of the Cubs, he is an Elvis impersonator, which just makes you just incredible as a person in my book.
Hey, Lisa Cram, and also John Pincus. I was going to come out for the Red Sox game, but Danny told me not to because it wasn't a good time. So I'm not coming.
Yeah, I don't want him to see the band. All he does is going to throw rotten fruit at me.
He told me no, so here I am.
I'm going to do before we this flexing cube out of here, which I don't know if you know that we do this IFG. I know Lyle knows all about it, but he probably doesn't have one unless you do.
I sent you one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to get it up there.
through the mail.
Yeah, I still mailed it.
Did you really send me one?
I thought I did on Twitter. No.
I don't know if I have it, but I will do chance for a chance now, so I don't forget, because I did forget last time. So hashtag chance in the chat, and you could win a postcard of Frank Chance sent to you by me in the mail. And so I'm going to share my screen here. Well, for whatever reason, it doesn't show that there are any entries. Hold on a second. Oh, why would that be?
You
there
fuck this up every time.
They just assumed you weren't going to do it.
No. They've been saying chance in the chat. I'm going to do it again. As you can see, all right, here we go.
There we go.
All right, there we go. We got some chancers here. Chance in the chat. 13. Get your chance. 5, 4, 3, 2. Here I go. Boop 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 beep boop 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 beep boop boop beep beep boop boop beep beep boop boop beep boop beep burp beep beep burp beep burp. Cub Doggy, congratulations, Cub Doggy. You are the winner. 1981. I'll be in contact. I believe he's won before.
Yeah, I think that's the second time for him.
That's Eric, I believe.
There are people who have been doing this every single time, never won, and all these other people just keep winning over and over.
Yeah,
The fix is in.
Congratulations to Cub Doggy.
What do you think, Danny, that we should wager on this Red Sox Cubs series? We don't have to talk about it now, but I just wanted to put it in your head. I have an idea what I'm going to ask of you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got a pretty good one. Me and Johnny Onomatopoeia with the National Series thought of a pretty good one, which is one of us has to get like a Craigslist job for the day, do a random gig work, like, go rake leaves at something, or just we got to get a job is basically, and so that's so. What are you thinking?
I have like 3 jobs. I have, so I don't need another job. Yeah, I know.
I'm like, that's where I really go for jobs. Like, this is how I pay my rent.
I think if the Red Sox win more games than the Cubs in this series, I think I'm going to ask you to start the wave in the bleachers.
I already do that just to piss people off.
but I want it to happen, and I want to see people throw things at you.
Oh,
well, we just want to see people throw things at them.
Yeah, exactly. I could get people to throw things at me in lots of ways that might be even more fun for me.
That's where I'm starting. I haven't decided yet, and maybe you guys can think about it.
Yeah,
too.
let's brainstorm. I was thinking maybe I have to sing "Go Cubs Go" with the lyrics of "Dirty Water" or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
I don't know, something that's easy actually and not very embarrassing at all. So I did want to point out this Al Yellen. I'll start with the TFCs. Al Yellen out there basically living Michael Cotton's best life. An entire article about how Marquee is a flop. And he says, and this is, I've heard Michael Cotton say this many, many times on the show, and I will drop the link. To this entire article, which you can go read in the chat here. And I'll just read this out part of this Al Yellen article on Bleed Cubby Blue. He said, because Boog Sciambi and whoever he's with in the booth, whether it's Jim DeShays, Rick Sutcliffe, or Ryan Dempster, frequently ignore what's happening on the field and go off on random tangents. It feels like I'm watching a podcast with certain topics they feel they must bring up, and the action on the field is secondary. There are times an entire inning will go by and maybe a couple pitches will be called.
Yep.
So
it's an amazing thing that these people whose job it is, number one job is just tell us about the game, can't seem to do that. They just can't seem to just tell us about the game that's happening right in front of us.
Yeah. So I got to ask you guys, because I haven't had your opinion yet, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up. Is IFG, like, what are you thinking of the marquee? Do you tune into Pat Hughes, or you're watching the? I know you got what, like MLB.
Yeah, I got MLB TV. I used to just turn on Park Sounds and watch the game. They took that option away a couple years ago, and I rather miss it.
That's a good option. I like that.
Oh my gosh, that was great. But the last few games I've had the other team's feed on, and it was like the 4th inning before I noticed. I mostly just tune it out. I don't really pay attention to the broadcast at all.
Lau, what do you think? Have the Cubs like zagged too far into like national broadcast land, or? Yeah,
I just think it's lost its soul. I think Michael complains about it a lot, but there is a soullessness to it. It's not as good. I prefer the radio broadcast. If it's not the radio broadcast, I prefer nothing, and I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes prefer. I know everyone's gonna lose their mind. I prefer the national broadcast when the Cubs are playing on Sunday night than I do some of the guys that are doing the Cubs games now.
Yeah, and Angel Moreno says, then listen to Pat and Ron, which is kind of what I do. Even though the radio tends to be ahead, that's actually an advantage because I like actually get the play before the rest of Twitter.
Right,
They're all watching, so I'm just like, yeah, home run, and I'm like the first guy to tweet it because I'm listening to the freaking old fashioned.
Well, also it'll get you if you're
Look at this thing.
listening. If you're listening to it and you have the video on, it gets your attention.
Yeah, and I'm
You're
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
something's
something's
happening.
Yeah, you can actually do shit and you hear about something that's going to happen a minute and a half before, so you have time to go see it on your TV.
Yeah, and Terry says Boog seems to be interviewing who's ever he's in the booth with. I mean,
Totally.
that comes from the national kind of style of things. And God, I mean, as interesting as it is to hear from the players, wow, I mean, it's just every damn game they got them down there or mic'd up or in the dugout or something, and you're just missing you're missing the game. Like, I don't know. So anyway, I think that's a great article and I was surprised that Al wrote it because he's interviewed Boog before. So, I mean, I'm sure he's going to take a little heat. Don't read the comments because they'll be hot and heavy.
I actually do want to read those comments.
Yeah, that would be fun. So, all right, who else has got a TFC? By the way, TFC stands for this flexing cube, as in cube fan flexing on the internet. So,
yeah. Well,
there's plenty of those to pick from.
I will start. I have this one coming off of Reddit, in the Cubs Reddit there. And the question put to Cubs Reddit was, who's your favorite all-time Cubs player? And Television Frank says, I'll go with Reed Johnson. Looking like some 1920s MFer with his pants tucked into his stirrups and was probably the best center fielder we've had in the last 20 years, not named Dexter. And ZXD-318 responded, Reed Johnson didn't fear anything. Fear feared Reed. He was a very existing player to watch. And I thought that was exactly what Reed Johnson was. He was an existing player to watch.
Yeah, he did exist.
Excelled at being there.
he was. That's one thing you can say about Reed Johnson.
He was there.
He was absolutely there
Until he wasn't. Until he got replaced.
He's gone. Yeah.
Then he was non-existent.
Oh man,
without chasing fear down.
So I don't necessarily want to totally get into this, but I think some of us maybe saw the news on Jason Adam. Is this what you're referring to, Lyle, about the Rays not wearing
Yeah, I
the
did.
pride?
I said that. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
I said,
So I did see this, and you know, I don't want to go into this whole thing, but you know, it's one of those like, oh, it comes down to faith. It's a faith-based decision. It's a hard decision, but we're not going to we're not something about Jesus lifestyle. You know, as a heterosexual male, I must abstain from sex too, outside of marriage. No different. All this garbage. Meanwhile, it's just does damage.
I'm sure he pulled that one off.
I believe that the flag is a flag of inclusion. I think is what it stands for. If I believe I'm correct in that, and I believe that the very basis of Christianity is accepting people for who they are and to accept them and to wish them, you know, to go to visit Jesus.
Yeah. You'd apparently be wrong.
So,
apparently none of that's true because
so obviously
wearing that makes him a homo.
Obviously, Adam's a flexing cube in and of himself. He's a cube head. But I enjoyed when Bleacher Nation wrote a little article about it and posted it on Twitter. And this guy wrote in, he said, Tyler Martano says, weird. Jason Adam didn't bring any of this up when I blew him in a Mariano's parking garage last year. So it's just like, you know, it always happens like that. Isn't that like there's always deflecting away from who they are? Like, it's so odd how that works. Preachers are like that a lot of times.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know how I feel about all of it. It's just stupid.
Well,
I also like all the MLB stuff, like all the military uniform stuff and all that other shit. Like, I don't love all that shit either. Like, I just like, let's just wear our regular uniforms. Like, I think some of the cool uniforms are cool. but when it feels like it's just an advertisement for something. So I don't know. Maybe-
Well, I'm gonna jump onto this as well, and I'm gonna put IFG on the spot here because she had a great flex on this. We're all going to wear a special color to support mothers. Cool. We're all going to wear a special hat to support first responders. Fine. We're all going to wear a rainbow to say, hey, gay people are okay. Now hold on, I'm not gay. Yeah, you're not a mom or a cop either, bro. Which I thought was an excellent response.
Awesome job. Yeah.
yes, totally.
So you've been all over this. So I did want to bring it up just to give you kind of the floor on this one.
It's no secret. I was raised in an extremely evangelical religion. I sort of gave that all up in my early 20s. But I mean, I was a Sunday school teacher. I have a lot of the Bible memorized. I know what it says and what it doesn't say, and I know who said it and who didn't say it. And Jesus didn't say a single thing about homosexuality. Not one word.
Yeah, we need it. We need an obvious shirt that just says Jesus didn't say that.
That's actually a good one. I'd wear that one.
I respect the fact that people have religions and that they have their own belief systems, but a very wise man once told me that your right to swing your fist ends where the other man's nose begins. You can have your religion, you don't get to put it on other people. And if the thing that you're willing to fight for is not accepting other people for who they are, that you're the bad guy in that situation.
Yeah. The way it's kind of like, your right to make a cup snake ends where my karate chop begins.
There you go.
It's getting very similar.
Yes. Terry E says, I just thank God both my parents were atheists.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah. I mean, I know you have been very, very vocal on Twitter about that. And you're just like, it's because it's kind of abusive, to be indoctrinated into this dogmatic situation based upon something of questionable veracity.
And Danny's mother was a nun.
Yeah, no, I got into it. We talked a little bit about it, so it is interesting. But yeah, about I just feel bad if there's if you are a Rays fan and you have these players that you're supposed and you're gay or supportive.
And I'm the first person to say that I was raised in Tampa. I've been to most of the Major League Baseball games I've ever seen were at the Tropicana Field. I grew up in that stadium, and the Tampa Bay Rays have always been very, very good about their LGBT outreach, at least in my opinion. And I mean, I was there at the game that they held after the Pulse shooting. And it was the one time I've ever been in a sold out Tropicana Field. It was incredible. I still have the t-shirts, the We Are Orlando and the big, rainbows. And they had the big rainbow on the field, and they were not quiet about their support at all. And I think somebody really messed up in this situation. First of all, making a part of the uniform optional, which I'm pretty sure is against MLB rules in the first place. Like, they defaced their uniforms.
Yeah.
But I think making the team's symbol of acceptance optional was a huge miss.
Yeah. Wear the damn uniform. We're paying you enough. You're on the team. This is what the team is doing. This is what the team stands for. And suck it up. Wear the damn rainbow pride thing.
I saw someone post. I'm seeing a lot of the Japanese players wear these military uniforms near the 4th of July and whatnot. And I think that is the very, very military that wiped half of their civilization off the face of the earth. So just wear the fucking uniform.
Yeah.
and again, I'm like, well, yeah, maybe they shouldn't wear those, but whatever.
I mean, Jason Adam had no trouble wearing the shirt that said Devil Rays.
Yeah. Well, and that was stupid that they got rid of that anyway. I was just like, dude, it's an animal called the devil. And nobody really thinks it's the devil coming in.
That's Central Florida for you.
I know. We can't go to see that team. We got to be Marlins fans. Oh, no, the Marlins has a giant spike like a sword. The devil has a sword. And, I don't know. People are crazy. Well, that's our show. We have winners galore. If you like what we do here on the Son Ranto Show, you should become a patron at patreon.com/sonranto. It's how we keep the lights on in here. It's how we buy beers for ourselves so I can have enough courage to go chop cup snakes in half. I had a great time tonight, guys. I hope you all did too. We really had quite the show. It's just a lot of people rolled through. We talked about a lot of things, and that's a Cardinals 5-game series for you. So there's your show.
It's
Spagog.
Spagog.
I guess, yeah, Spagog. Bye, everybody. Spagog.
Bye.
Took the train from Barrington to get drunk and have some fun in the bleachers. Fireballs at Cubby Bear with his friends, he doesn't care if he's late. He boos and screams and cheers and he pounds a dozen beers in the bleachers. But the highlight of his day was when he made a cup snake. They piled it high and piled it higher. Left field sucks came from the choir. They stacked those cups for 27 rows. How beautifully built those cups were till a mean red-shirted usher said, "Buddy, I think it's time to go." He's the cup snake guy. Chases Jägermeister with a Mai Tai. But the best part of the game was stacking cups up in the ninth. He's a cup snake guy. Well, he came to see the Cubs, but instead he's stacking cups in the bleachers. He was too drunk by the fourth to care about the score of the game. But he's reaching for the sky, heaping cups up super high in the bleachers. Worth $100 he paid to get drunk and make a cup snake. Everything felt so fantastic, holding his pillar of plastic, a monument to Wrigley's drunken fans. Beer and dip spit raining showers from the massive slobber tower. Thank God they gave them cups instead of cans. He's a cup snake guy. Gonna lose his Terrio jersey tonight. And the best part of the game was stacking cups up in the ninth. He's a cup snake guy. He's from the suburbs and he's usually white. And the best part of the game was stacking cups up in the night.